pulled over the truck and I wanted to go over some features and some things that you would want to take into account when you're buying a new truck. There's things that guys will tell you, and even though your salesman's awesome, there's going to be things that they don't know or that they didn't think of. So I'm going to save you some issues and some mistakes I made in the past. For instance, and I'm going to pan down to the transmission. Right now, the transmission's off. One thing they won't tell you, this truck has a 2000 series transmission. It has a torque converter. The torque converter will, you need a torque converter to run the transmission. The problem with the 2000 series transmission is your PTO will not run when you're in drive or reverse. You have to be moving the truck. So you will only get that in a 3000 and 4000 series transmission. So if you're going to buy a truck, spec it with a 3000 or a 4000 series transmission, because then you could use the PTO whether you're in neutral, drive, or reverse. Right now I can only run the PTO while I'm even moving the truck in drive and reverse, or when I'm in neutral standing still. That's the only time the PTO will engage. The hand controls in my particular truck are air inside and hydraulic outside. The difference being is if you had a mechanical control, the air controls, as I go in or out, if I move the controls a little bit, it'll move slow. If I can move the controls a lot, it'll move faster. So that's an advantage of having air controls. There is external hydraulic controls that you can also use while you're outside the cab. This is the PTO. When you turn the PTO on, it drives a motor. When you drive the motor, then it puts pressure into the system. So you'll have a supply, and underneath is the pressure going out. So you have the PTO and you have the PTO pump. These are the two things that run and put pressure into your system. I'm going to go over some things on the truck that will kind of be of some interest to you. So if you come over here, I'm going to go over these things really fast. I'm not going to bore everybody because there's going to be a lot of guys here that already know about truck, but they don't know about hook truck and they don't know about specific details about the different, either a Palfinger, a Stellar hoist, or something like that. So I'll go over these things really fast. Fuel filter, air brake filter, fuel tank, and you got a DEF. Outside hydraulic controls, you have your hoist up. That's raising the hoist and lowering the hoist, and the jib in and jib out. That's jibbing this thing in and this thing out. That's called your jib. Then you have inside here, you have a pressure gauge. The pressure gauge will tell you when you need to change the filter that's in this housing. You take these 4 bolts off, you pull the filter out, and you put it back in. Actually, this truck is due for a filter change. How ridiculous do you think it would be if we went over to that pet store across the street and played with some puppies? Then you got your 2 hydraulic rams that raises and lowers the hoist as far as your dumpster on and off the truck. Then when you get it on the truck, then you jib it forward. This is a single articulating hoist, meaning that for me to dump this, if I jib it in to unlock the can and I don't jib it in, I'll bend these. And you could see these have already been hit a few times. They'll be destroyed if this thing bounces or if you don't put the can in prior to lifting the dumpster up. These are the 2 wheels. When you're putting the can on the truck, there's 2 rails on the dumpster. The rails have to hit on these wheels. If you don't hit the rails on these 2 wheels, the can will fall off the truck and possibly cause massive damage to the truck or hurt someone. So they will never right themselves. Like if it ever hits right here, it will never fall on. I've had it right on the edge, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, it never falls on. You have to be on the wheel. On an American, on the hook trucks, and the reason we're getting another hook truck is because we want to use it to haul trailers, is that they got this massive, it looks like to be 1 inch or even more than 1 inch plate on the back. So we were just on location and we were explaining the advantages and disadvantages of different hook trucks, and we just blew it off to go look at puppies. So we're gonna go check out puppies for a while. on this one, we have the pintle hook. Pintle on this is still brand new. We don't haul with this truck. It's too light duty to haul anything. But for the price difference, you might as well, have the truck built to haul a trailer. In an emergency, I could always throw a trailer on there if I had to move it. On this one, we have the plastic wheel guards, lightweight, easy to change. If we need to, we can always change those in our own shop. Coming around to this side, there's a toolbox. In here, I have my tarp. I just ball my tarp up and throw it in there. We have the flares required by DOT, and there's a few chains and stuff like that. Coming around here, then you have your air tanks. Air tanks are important, otherwise you can't stop the truck. In here, you have your batteries. It's a good idea to check to make sure your battery terminals are tight every once in a while. Especially on these European trucks, the batteries, for some reason, never last. And we've had a few no starts, especially in the wintertime. The batteries, I'll tell you what, as soon as the batteries get weak, I've replaced the batteries in this truck probably twice. As soon as you feel that you're cranking slow in the morning, you're gonna wanna change the batteries out. Over here you have your plug-in at night. So if it's cold, you could plug it in, and underneath you have your electric to shut on and off the batteries. It's always a good idea to shut the batteries off if you're over the weekend or such. Protect the life of your batteries. In here we have the air filter, and here we have the control to raise and lower the cab. The way you would raise and lower the cab, to raise, you pump it up, that will raise the cab. Then when you want to lower the cab, you turn it this way. It doesn't release the cab. What you do is you have to pump it again, and then that'll put the cab down. This one, I'll be honest with you, overall I'm really happy with. Do I wish there were certain things? I probably designed it not knowing all the features that are out there that I could do for next time. That's the overall truck, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, and we'll keep going.